Morning, everyone. We'll call the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection to order. I want to make sure that our sound guys are hearing us, and I didn't hear an official countdown.
Good morning, Chair. You're good to go.
Okay, thank you. All right. We will officially call to order the hearing on Friday, February the 5th on the Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection. We have a number of very interesting bills on our agenda. The first one is Senate Bill 609 relating to veterinarians. And this measure provides veterinarians who provide emergency care to animals immunity from civil liability in the absence of gross negligence. Provides some other requirements, reports, but the key here, I think, is it gives the veterinarians some immunity. They do the best they can, like our doctors, and sometimes it just doesn't work that well. So, the testifiers we have Chelsea Fukunaga. Is Chelsea on Zoom? Chelsea, did you want to share your testimony with us?
Good morning, Chair, members of the committee. The board stands on its written testimony. I will be available for any questions you may have.
Okay, and you are representing the Board of Veterinary Medicine, which is a part of Professional and Vocational Licensing Division of DCCA, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Stephanie Kendrick, Hawaii Humane Society, I think is on Zoom. Stephanie, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members for hearing this bill this morning. It has Hawaiian Humane's strong support. Our written testimony tells a story that illustrates how the animals who regularly come into Hawaiian Humane injured would benefit enormously from this measure. This morning I wanted to share with you a story of an animal who did get the care she needed because a local veterinary clinic stepped up and supported and reported suspected cruelty. Tulip was 6-pound, 4-year-old silky terrier when she came into the care of a local veterinary clinic, and they had noticed over the months that they had seen her that she had a series of accidental injuries that resulted in blunt force trauma, quite serious, including fractured skull, fractured pelvis. One of the injuries resulted in one of her legs having to be amputated. And so this clinic reported to Hawaiian Humane that they thought this dog was probably being abused, and an investigation was opened. The owner, who was not the abuser, wound up surrendering Tulip into our care. She got the care she needed and was ultimately adopted by her foster parent, where she continues to get ongoing medical care, which she'll need for the rest of her life. The sad part of the story is in the course of the investigation, we found that the same pet owner had lost 4 other dogs over the years at young ages. All of them had been seen by different veterinarians. All of them had been abused by her boyfriend, who was convicted for abusing Tulip. And none of those dogs were reported to us, and no investigations were open. And I certainly don't believe that those veterinarians didn't want to do the right thing, but I think, as small business owners, I think this law would give them the protection that they need to do that with confidence, know that they cannot be retaliated against civilly, and I think that's important, and I would urge the committee to support them in that so that we can better protect our animals. The other point I want to make, and I'll be quick in respect for the committee's time, is that there is a mountain of evidence of the coincidence of animal abuse and interpersonal violence. In fact, in one study of families under investigation for child abuse, the coincidence of animal abuse ranged from 60% to 88%. So having a law like this, similar to the mandatory reporting rules for child abuse, will really allow us to see those red flags and protect both animals and people in our community. So I ask for the committee's support for this measure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Members, what's your preference? Do you want to ask questions as we go along? Shall we wait till the end and then see if there's questions? Yeah. Okay. Let's go forward then to Mira Gurung, testimony in support of the measure. Are you on Zoom with us, Mira? I don't see her. Let's go forward then to Dr. Barbara Hodges, who is a veterinarian with the Humane Society. And let's see. We have her on Zoom, I believe. Dr. Hodges? If not, members, we have her testimony. We also have testimony, and all of these ones that I am naming are in support of the measure. Eric Ako, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. Dr. Ako, are you on the Zoom? Okay. The rest of these are not on Zoom and are all in support. Anna Neubauer, Hawaii Association of Animal Welfare Agencies. Hawaii Veterinary Medical Association submitted testimony. Marian Husenbrooks, Animal Interfaith Alliance in Britain. Inga Gibson, Juliana Benson, Carol Ridgeloo, Elizabeth Kent, Ashley Wilcox, Vivian Tolner, Jennifer Ho, Lynn Matasso, Melanie Kim, Tari Kinoshita, Emmy Al, Jennifer Chua, Deborah Wilson, Fatima Abed, Will Caron, Lee Kuchia, Susan Eubank, chemist, I am not going to try to pronounce the last name because I will totally botch it. But Kemet K, Chemtris K, Zara Nicholson, Joan Parker, Michael D. Parker, Sue Chip, Mamie rather, Donnelly, Mary Minacho, Carol Lau, Alice Saul, Ryan Chu, Mi Kosasa, Eric Jane. Members, all of that testimony was in support. We have some additional late testimony from Kim Tomey in support, Angus Raff Tierney in support, and Jenny Tew in support. Members, are there any questions for the testifiers that were on the Zoom call?
I have a question, Chair.
Okay, please.
So I am very much in favor of this measure, and I notice that nobody has actually opposed it. Most of the testimonies are in support. But I'm just wondering if there are any downside to this. In other words, would there be a possibility that this could be abused and people who are not necessarily guilty of this infraction can actually be penalized for something? I don't know. So I'm looking at, are there any?
This only applies to veterinarians.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
This
Sorry.
is only to veterinarians. It's not the abusers of the dogs.
Okay. All right. I stand corrected.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? If not, members, shall we move forward to the next item on our agenda? This is Senate Bill 610, relating to boards and commissions, prohibits a public member of any board or commission under DCCA's purview from being engaged in the occupation that the board or commission regulates or having other direct legal or financial interest in the regulated occupation. Specifies that public members represent the public interest. We have representative from DCCA Professional Vocational Licensing, Alani.
Hi, good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Alani Kiyoki, Licensing Administrator for the Professional and Vocational Licensing Division. The division, or department, excuse me, will stand on its written comments in support of the intent of the bill to prohibit a public member of any board or commission administratively attached to the department. The department does note, however, that the language on page 3, lines 12 through 15 may be overly broad and could unintentionally restrict well-qualified individuals from serving on a board or a commission. If the committee is inclined, I've been working with the Attorney General's office, and I do have some recommended language if the committee is inclined to see that.
Thank you, Alani. Yes.
Sure.
The chair is very interested in passing this measure, but did note in your testimony that our attempts were a little lacking in terms of clarity. So if you have language that you've been working with the Attorney General on, we very much appreciate receiving it.
I will email it to your committee clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The other testifier on this measure is Lila Maurer, testifying for Hui Oia'io Condo Owners Coalition of Hawaii in strong support. Members, any questions for Alani? If not, shall we go forward to the next? Thank you, Alani. Let's go forward to the next
welcome.
measure, which is Senate Bill 130, relating to coffee labeling. Requires coffee blends labels to disclose regional origins and percent by weight of the blended coffee. Prohibits using geographic origins of coffee in labeling or advertising for roasted or instant coffee that contains less than 51% coffee by weight from that geographic region. I will tell the new members that this is a perennial bill, or a version of it. We hear a lot from the coffee growing areas, and I will confess that my district has joined the coffee growers, so I appreciate the concerns. But I will also confess I'm not sure I know what the right answer is. Let's hear from the Department of Agriculture, Phyllis Shimabukuro-Geiser. Phyllis, are you on our Zoom call?
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Phyllis Shimabukuro-Geiser, Chairperson, Hawaii Department of Agriculture. We appreciate the intent of the bill, and we offer these comments. We support the industry and the use of unique geographic coffee growing regions to market, advertise, and sell Hawaii-grown coffee. While the department can enforce grading and labeling of green Hawaii-grown coffee, we lack the capability to regulate the authenticity of roasted Hawaii-grown coffee labeling at this time. We are aware of inspection detection technology that can determine such authenticity exists. However, implementing that capability effectively will require significant additional funding for equipment acquisition and training of our staff. Thank you very much for the opportunity to provide testimony.
Okay, thank you. We have Victor Lim, Hawaii Restaurant Association on Zoom. Mr. Lim, are you there?
Hi, good morning, Senator Baker.
Good morning.
And members of the Committee of Commerce and Consumer Protection. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Yeah, the Hawaii Restaurant Association, representing about 3,500 restaurants here, stand opposed to SB 130 that will change the current 10% local bean requirement to 51% for the one that we use called Kona Blend. Many of our local restaurants here have been using Kona Blend with a 10% bean content for 10, 20. And some of the businesses like McDonald's have been doing it for 50 plus years. And we use the local processors to supply us with it, contrary to some of the popular belief that it's only the mainland processors that do all of these things. A move to 51% local bean content would significantly increase the cost to our restaurants here, causing many of us to not able to support Hawaii processing and production facilities, and will affect our jobs here locally. The unforeseen consequences of this bill will greatly increase the cost to most of our restaurants and force many of them to move away from using locally produced and processed products, resulting in a big major hit to our local processors. We urge that this committee hold this bill, and thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to share our point of view today.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lim. We also have testimony on Zoom from the Hawaii Food Industry Association, Lauren Zerbel. Lauren, are you there? Lauren submitted testimony in opposition.
This is Alexis Chapman for HFIA.
Yes.
Sorry, I was just able to join.
Okay.
Chair, Vice Chair, committee members, thank you for the opportunity to testify. We are in opposition to this measure. We believe that this law would make it harder for businesses selling Hawaii coffee to create labels that best suit their brands, and the existing coffee label regulations are clear and provide ample information for consumers. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much. We have testimony from the Hawaii Coffee Company, Gerard Bastiansi. Gerard, are you on the call? Hawaii Coffee Company?
Morning. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. Good morning, Chair Baker, Vice Chair Chang, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. I don't need to tell anyone the effect that COVID-19 has had on our economy, with the highest unemployment rate in the country, with our GDP declining more than any other state year over year. This bill will definitively cut jobs within the industry. As Mr. Lim said, it will move coffee roasting, manufacturing, and distribution jobs from local companies to the mainland, and it will damage restaurants, our most fragile industry, or some of our most fragile industries now. And I think you've heard that from the different committees. And I think you see in the Teamsters testimony how the impact it will have on local employment, both us and around the industry. In the interest of time, I won't go into a tremendous amount of detail here. I know you have a busy agenda, but I wanted to clear up three things that continue to come up when I try to address this bill objectively with members of the committee, and when I was debating a similar bill last year with the committee. One is that the Hawaii Coffee Company is a blender of coffee and just sells 10% blends. Our company has been around for a very long time on this island, and I think our reputation speaks for itself. We sell more 100% Kona coffee than anyone out there, and we sell more 100% Kona coffee than everyone who's supporting this bill combined. So we are the leaders in selling 100% Kona coffee. We sell 100% Kona coffee, we sell 10% Kona coffee, and we sell everything in between. And it's all based on consumer choice, what the consumer wants, what they can afford, and what taste profile works for them. And it's a complete option for people that we're happy to provide as we move along. So we are happy to sell 100% Kona coffee, and the idea that we make more money on 10% Kona coffee than 100% Kona coffee, I don't know where that came from. If we're selling coffee on shelf at a local grocery store for $20 a bag, and the same bag in a 10% sells for $5 a bag, I don't know how the math works with us using the same bag label, the same manufacturing labor, the same electricity, the same distribution costs, the same boxes, the same labor of merchandisers putting it on the shelf. I don't know why there's this verdict that we somehow want to sell 10% coffee. We sell what people want. The second misnomer I would like you to consider as you read through this bill, when I first look at this, it seems like the growers are for this. The coffee growers want this bill. That is absolutely not the case. The KCFA is one growers association. There's another growers association called the Coffee Kona Council. The Coffee Kona Council has more acreage definitively than the KCFA does. And the board members of the Kona Coffee Council have more coffee growing acreage than all of the KCFA put together. So this notion that the growers somehow definitively want this is not true. So I'd like to challenge that and certainly open for us to be able to provide that information. And the third misnomer I'd like to address is when you look at this bill and the testimony, you see, well, the Hawaii Coffee Association's for this bill. I'm very emotional about this because I'm fighting for the jobs of the people of our company and the jobs of people in the restaurant industry. The Hawaii Coffee Association is a bunch of nice people. It's a good organization, so nothing against it, but it's not representative of the coffee industry in totality. Chris Manfredi's a nice guy. He's going to testify. He's testifying from New York. He's not testifying from Hawaii. And as far as I know, he doesn't employ anybody. The only member of the Hawaii Coffee Association that materially employs people is really the Honolulu Coffee Company that has submitted testimony against this bill. The employers and the large employers within this industry and the people roasting and processing most of the coffee stand against this bill. So I beg you, for the consumers that enjoy buying our products and would like to continue buying our products, for the restaurants that sell our products, make a good margin on it, and it helps drive their business when they're trying to recover, and for the local roasters here that are trying to continue to roast coffee and not have it outsourced to the mainland and shipped in, I humbly request you in the strongest terms to please put this bill on hold and not move it forward. And I thank you very much for your time, and I certainly welcome any questions.
Thank you very much. Next, we will go to Mr. Chris Manfredi, Hawaii Coffee Association. And I think, Chris, are you on the Zoom call? His testimony is he supports the intent but opposes it in current form. So, Chris,
Yes, Chair.
Chris, have you joined us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Aloha, good morning, Chair, members of the committee. Chris Manfredi, representing Hawaii Coffee Association, testifying from Na'alehu in Ka'u. I take exception to the comments of the previous testifier. He made a number of statements that I don't agree with. I won't get into them in detail. I will state the Hawaii Coffee Association's position. The Hawaii Coffee Association is made up of stakeholders throughout the state and throughout the supply chain in Hawaii, large and small. We support the intent of this measure. Like this committee, we've debated this idea of increasing the blend ratios over time, and we feel the time is right to move forward to a gradual increase in the blend ratio. We'd like to see this bill phased in over time, period of 3 to 5 years. There's been a number of changes in our industry. Some we can control, some we can't. We've adapted to the introduction of coffee berry borer and the grade standard amendments that were necessary to respond to that. We're currently dealing with coffee leaf rust, and a sudden change to the blend ratios is not something we support, but we do believe it's something that we can absorb over time and will make our industry stronger in the long term. And it really comes down to quality. Some of these blends that are out there at 10%, where 1 bean in 10 is from Hawaii, if the quality of some of these blends was better, we probably wouldn't have an issue with it. But I've cupped some of these 10% blends, and to call them Hawaiian anyway degrades our brand. Secondly, we do not agree with the idea that every origin has to be listed as a percentage on the blend. We'd like to see the Hawaiian origins, the Hawaii grown origins listed at 51% or above, and the other coffees or blending stock that we used to make that, if they are foreign grown, could be listed as foreign grown rather than individually listing the origin from which they come. That's all I have. I appreciate the opportunity to testify, and I'm available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Les Drent, LBD Coffee. Is Les on the call?
Yes, I'm on the call. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Les Drent from LBD Coffee over in Kauai. We own several value-added agricultural businesses in Hawaii. Some of you are familiar with me from over the years with our Kauai Cigar Company. We also own Kauai Distilling Company. We grow tobacco, corn, coffee, chocolate, and raise bees for honey. I started in the coffee business 30 years ago in Kona, and I've got a lot of years behind me in this industry. I was involved early on in the 90s with what went on with Kona Kai, publishing several articles on that to call attention to what was happening in that industry with the counterfeiting of Kona coffee. You know, this is really the main reason that I decided to leave Kona back in 1998. I headed out down to Kauai.
Mr. Drent, excuse me. You did not submit testimony. I'm going to ask you to be very brief because we have a long agenda, and that you submit written testimony. I think I should be allowed the same amount of time as Gerard Bastiansi, and you're also taking from my time, Senator Baker. So if it's I'm running okay this hearing, so please.
Use my full 2 minutes.
Yes, but I asked for written testimony, and I would like to have written testimony.
I felt that it was better because nobody really reads testimony there. I felt it was better to get on video and use my 2 minutes. May I do that?
Please proceed, but I want written testimony from you. Everybody else submits written testimony, whether they're on Zoom or not.
I've submitted a lot of written testimony over the years to you.
Mr. Durant, please proceed with your testimony and stop going after the committee, or I will cut you off.
Can I testify, please?
I said proceed with your testimony and cut to the chase.
Cutting to the take is that I am offering comments on this bill saying that 51% is not adequate to protect the Kona coffee industry and the Kona coffee brand. And if you have any idea of the economics that are involved with raising and growing coffee and adding a value-added product in this state, you would be supporting 100% protection for Kona coffee or any value-added product that's grown or made in Hawaii. And the folks that are testifying in opposition to this are basically people that bring in and import foreign beans at anywhere from $1.50 to $2 a pound, which I do myself, but I don't do any blending. I sell those coffees as origin coffees, whether it's from Guatemala, Nicaragua, Sumatra, and I sell Kona coffee as 100% Kona coffee. Same with how I sell my product, Blair Estate Hawaii coffee. It's sold as it should be, as it's represented in the package. So my comments are that I don't want to support a 51%. This is like, there's no skin off my back on this. This has been kicked down the road for 30 years. So my comments are that you should be protecting value-added commodities in Hawaii. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next testifier is Hawaii Coffee Company. Do we have Hawaii Coffee Company on the line? Hawaii Coffee Company. We have testimony in opposition. Honolulu Coffee. Testimony in opposition. Maui Coffee Association submitted comments. Kona Coffee Council in opposition. Hawaii Teamsters and Allied Workers Local 966. Do we have a representative from the Teamsters? They submitted testimony in opposition. And Daryl Hara also submitted testimony in opposition. Members, are there any questions for any of our testifiers? If not, let's move forward to Senate Bill 1232 relating to liquor. This establishes a 3-year surcharge on the liquor tax, repeals the measure 6/30/2024. Let's see. We have testimony from the Department of Taxation. Director Choi or a representative?
Good morning, Chair. Jacob Hurwitz on behalf of the Department of Taxation. We will stand on our written comments offering technical suggestions, and I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Cynthia Okazaki, Hawaii Alcohol Policy Alliance. Is Cynthia on the call?
Yes.
Please proceed.
Keith. Okay, great. Good morning, Chair Baker, Vice Chair Chang, and members of the Senate Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection. My name is Cynthia Okazaki, and I'm a member of the Hawaii Alcohol Policy Alliance. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of SB 1232 relating to liquor. This bill, if passed, gives the legislature ways to help and support the people of Hawaii. As you can see from my written testimony, it provides a way to add $62 million plus to the general fund. This amount is based on a 10-cent a drink surcharge on alcohol. It also reduces harm, which costs the state nearly $1 billion per year, according to the CDC. This bill would also help to prevent underage drinking. There is a concern about how this will affect businesses in Hawaii. I would like to share with you some quotes from a liquor store owner that appeared in the Hawaii Tribune Herald on January 28, 2021. Ryan Kadota, owner of Kadota Liquor in Hilo, hadn't heard about this bill before Wednesday, but said selling alcohol is already a difficult business in Hawaii, thanks to high transportation costs and taxes. Every year, we see cost increases from distributors because of shipping costs going up and things like that. We already pay a lot of regulatory fees too. Kadota said a 10-cent increase on alcohol would probably not hurt his business too much. 10 cents. It depends on the product, Kadota said. If you're buying alcohol, I don't think people are going to be too upset. If it was milk or fuel or something like that, I think people would start to get mad. But I think people are more flexible when it comes to buying alcohol. He added that he thinks a tax surcharge might go down smoother with consumers if a portion of the proceeds went into funds that would help support people recovering from alcoholism. Alcohol use costs the state at least $937 million per year. An increase of 10 cents per drink would generate $62 million plus, as is explained in the testimony. It would also help reduce the excessive use of alcohol and its related consequences and help prevent underage drinking. I urge you to support and amend this bill to include a 10-cent per drink surcharge. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much. We have Chelsea Gonzalez, also from the Hawaii Alcohol Policy Alliance. Chelsea, are you on the call?
I am. Thank you very much. Good morning, Chair Baker, Vice Chair Chang, members of the committee. In the interest of time, thank you, Cynthia. I'm going to go ahead and stand on my testimony in support with the recommendation to include the 10 cents per drink increase in the bill. And I will remain online for any questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have Richard Collins, Hawaii Public Health Institute.
Hi, good morning, Chair Baker and members of the CPN committee. My name is Rick Collins. I'm a Maui resident and the director of the Hawaii Alcohol Policy Alliance, which is a program of the Hawaii Public Health Institute. We stand on our testimony to support this bill and with the recommendation to make the amendment of the per drink amount to 10 cents. And I'll stay on the line if you have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We have testimony from Darylyn Chen Scoville. Is Darylyn on the line?
Yes, madam. Thank you so much, Senator Baker. Good morning, Madam Chair and Senator Chang and members of the committee. My name is Darlene Chen Scoville. I'm an active advocate volunteer for the Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Action Group, and I am here to support this bill. This bill is not anti-business. This bill is about people that is impacted by alcohol. During the pandemic, there's a surge increase in alcohol consumption in isolation. There are babies born with fetal alcohol spectrum disorder every day that are invisible. And I think raising the tax for alcohol to also address the alcohol-induced diseases and the impacts on our community is a great deal, and it's logical. And I stand before my written testimony. Thank you for allowing me to testify this morning. I hope we come into a conclusion to support this bill, because this bill is not anti-business. We gotta think about profit versus people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go on to the representative from Lanikai Brewing Company, Steve Schaumchild.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on behalf in the committee. So it's not, I oppose this bill, and it's not because I don't support responsible consumption. I 100% support responsible consumption. I think the biggest issue is this will unfairly impact negatively the local producers and brewers and distillers here in the state. So with the 10-cent surcharge already, or adding that in, that will just simply encourage consumers to go buy lower priced alcohol. Generally, that means that they're going to be imported from the mainland coming in. Further, you would think that you would see, if this was factual, that there would be a correlation between the highest tax states having the lowest amount of alcohol problems, and there is no correlation between those two things. Finally, the brewing and distilling industry during the pandemic stepped up to make hand sanitizer and to help the state and meet the state's needs to make sure that there was a supply chain of hand sanitizer along the way. So it's impacting negatively the very industries that were there to be able to help and produce locally. So I oppose this bill mainly because it unfairly targets local producers. Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much. Lauren Zerbel, Hawaii Food Industry Association. Testimony in opposition.
Morning, this is Alexis Chapman for HFIA, Chair, Vice Chair, committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. We are in opposition to this measure. Every facet of Hawaii's economy has been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic crisis, but our restaurants and bars and the businesses that supply them have been some of the hardest hit. This surcharge basically amounts to an extra tax on businesses that are already struggling. A good portion of the text of this measure is devoted to discussing the problems of excessive alcohol consumption by individuals, but a connection between an added tax on businesses is only tenuously made by citing a 10-year-old study. There's not really an established nexus between increased taxes on businesses and efforts to decrease instances of excessive alcohol consumption by individuals. We believe this measure is not the right choice for our state and our local businesses, and we ask that it be held. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. We have all of this written testimony, so I'm going to ask all of the people that I'm going to be calling, because the list is lengthy and we do need to do decision making this morning, to please summarize or stand on your testimony. Tim Lyons, Anheuser-Busch Companies. Good morning, Tim.
I just want to point out that the price alcohol products have great elasticity. That is, in other words, as the price goes up, the sales go down. As the sales go down, the unemployment goes up. So we don't think that this bill is necessarily about the 5 cents or the 10 or even the 50 cents that people would pay. It's about the job of the delivery driver and the truck driver and the refrigeration repair guy who handle all of these. And our calculations show that this bill will result in about $12 million less in retail sales, about 250 jobs, and about $10 million less in wages paid. So the liquor industry is just not the cash cow that it used to be. And based on that, we oppose the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Ben Kopp, Aloha Ale Works. Is Ben on the Zoom? Ben, are you there? If
Hello,
not,
Chair. Ben is not on the call.
okay, we will move forward. Cindy Goldstein, I see Cindy, Hawaiian Craft Brewers Guild.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. This is Cindy Goldstein testifying on behalf of the Hawaiian Craft Brewers Guild, and we oppose this legislation. I'd like to clearly state that the Hawaiian Craft Brewers Guild and our members do embrace the responsible consumption of alcohol. That's very important to us. Right now, we know that COVID-19 is having a severe impact on our local craft breweries, and the economic viability is really being challenged for these businesses. So raising taxes at this critical time is really going to be crippling to our members. The Tax Foundation has shown that Hawaii is ranked the 3rd highest for excise tax rates on beer, and I will send along documentation for that. I'll follow up with that documentation to show that. But even a 3-year time period for this surcharge would really hurt our small craft breweries in the state.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yes?
Thank you for your testimony. We have it written.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to testify in opposition.
Okay, thank you. Garrett Marrero, Maui Brewing Company. Likewise, Garrett, you on the Zoom. We also have your written testimony. Are you there? If not, Brett Larson, Kauai Island Brewing Company. On Zoom, opposition, we have your testimony as well. Are you there? All right, next one, I see Mihoko, Wine Institute, Mihoko Ito.
Good morning, Chair and members. In the interest of time, we will stand on our testimony in opposition and just make a quick note that for wineries, they've been hit especially hard with, in addition to all the closures of wine rooms and premises in California, the wildfires, which have absolutely devastated the industry. And so we ask you to hold this measure. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Josh Kopp, Hanako Brewing Company. Josh, are you there? Joshua? If not, we have his testimony in opposition. We have a number of testifiers in support: Hawaiian Substance Abuse Council, Hawaiian FASD Action Group, Hawaii Fetal Alcohol Syndrome, that's what FASD stands for, Action Group again, MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving Hawaii, Hawaii State Teachers Association. We have testimony in opposition from Kauai Beer Company, Ola Beer Company, Waikiki Brewing Company, Beer Lab Hawaii, Maui Wine, Maui Brewing Company Craft Beverages. In support from these individuals, Ann Yabusaki, Kenichi Yabusaki, Gigi Davidson, Ashley Klemperer Chapman, Andrea Snow, Kristen Mills, Michael Parks, Ray Ogai, Cynthia Al, Colleen Fox. In opposition from Russell Adkins, Alex Segovia, Anson Silva, Lila Inaba, and Therese Birch. Senator Favela, if I didn't acknowledge you earlier, I'm delighted to see you joining us on Zoom this morning. So welcome. And members, are there any questions for any of the ones that were on the Zoom we could call back? If not, let's move forward.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say a couple of things.
Okay.
Just two things, if I can, please. I understand a lot of people is worrying about the surcharge, but you know, as the same people that was, not same people, when people was against the taxing for smoking and tobacco and saying that, you know, nobody will buy cigarettes and, you know, we're gonna have a problem in that industry, as you can tell, they're willing to pay $20 a pack. So I'm for, exercising this going forward, because I understand they're saying that the economy, but when is it going to be the right time to do stuff like this? We're always going to be bringing up a reason why we cannot move something forward, because everybody's getting hit hard. But having these taxes and going for the right reasons for our community, and having less consumption of liquor, and saving our families on the streets and the byways, I think this is something that is good.
Okay, thank you, Senator. When we get to decision making, we will make that known. Yes, there's a hand up. Who's that?
So this is Garrett Marrero. I heard my testimony get called, but not to comment. So I think some of the hearings are being operated differently. I guess I'm supposed to.
Well, when your name is called, you're supposed to join the Zoom call and check in.
Okay, sorry for that. Still learning this process here. I just wanted to comment too, and I appreciate the senator's comments there. There are no direct correlations that unequivocally state that a higher price is going to lower consumption. While I would argue that it is a disincentive to some, what it's going to do, particularly to our small local producers, is drive consumption to mass-marketed, mass-produced, AKA mainland-produced beverages that are cheaper and produced without any local labor or local contribution. So this absolutely hurts the small craft brewers far more than it does the very biggest producers. You know, and to use cigarettes as an example, there are no craft cigarette producers that are small and local that were impacted as the same as Marlboro or any of, I don't even know who makes cigarettes. I'm not a smoker.
Thank you, Garrett. Your point is made, and just hang on. Don't go away, because we're moving to the next bill, and you're up. We're going to go to Senate Bill 1241. I know this process is a little different for everybody. We're all learning it as well, so we will learn together. Senate Bill 1241 relating to intoxicating liquor requires any express carrier company, common or contract carrier, or other person that transports liquor from outside the state for delivery in the state to prepare and file a monthly report with the Liquor Commission or Liquor Control Adjudication Board of each county in which deliveries are made. And Mr. Garrett Marrero, Maui Brewing Company, is up first in opposition. Go for it.
Thank you. The reason we oppose this bill is that there is already a tremendous tracking system for shipments into the state of Hawaii. Now, we aren't allowed to direct ship. It is something that we're going to be talking about in our very next bill on 65. But what we're concerned about is the doubling or tripling of the tracking that has to happen, and it's of course put on the common carrier, but all that does is drive the cost of that shipping up. So someone who does want to order wine, for example, into the state of Hawaii, or beer, God willing that be allowed at some point, that they're able to do so without having to pay exorbitant costs because of this, again, doubling or tripling of tracking. We're already required to do all of these things, so I think it's an unfair burden that adds to cost, as well as to have zero benefit for the state. There's so little shipped in that there's not going to be an economic gain, yet more of a burden to now track what is, again, a second or third tracking of the same shipment. We have now a government an employee that now has to look at those reports, right? So I think it's just an unnecessary burden that contributes to cost, and it's why we oppose it. It doesn't contribute to the public good.
Thank you. Hawaii Liquor Wholesalers Association is in support of this measure. Anybody here from Hawaii Liquor Wholesalers? Okay. Lanikai Brewing Company in opposition. Concurs with Mr. Marrero's. Is there somebody here from Lanikai Brewing Company?
Yes, Chair. This is Steve Humsch with Lanikai Brewing. I stand in opposition, and I'm here to answer any questions if needed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hawaiian Craft Brewers Guild. Cindy Goldstein, did you want to comment on this measure? If not, we have our testimony in opposition.
Yep, standing on our written testimony.
Okay, thank you, Cindy. Maui Wine, testimony in opposition. Anybody here from Maui Wine? We have Matson Navigation Company, Ku'uhaku Park submitted comments for Matson. Anybody here from Matson? Members, any questions for any of our testifiers? If not, let's go forward to the next item on our agenda. Senate Bill 922 relating to liquor licenses. This would limit the convictions that may be used by the Liquor Commission in review of an application from convictions to the most recent 10 years. So trying to wipe out anything that may have been done that is more than 10 years old. Mandates an applicant to disclose specific disqualifying convictions related to any federal or state laws related to products regulated by chapters 51 or 52 of the Internal Revenue Code or the Federal Alcohol Administration Act. Garrett, you're up.
Thank you, Senator, and Vice Chair as well. This came to us through the Guild, so I'm testifying on behalf of a member. We've had some issues with liquor licensing, with members with liquor licensing, directly as it relates to board members, where I think in my testimony I put the example of an 83-year-old board member who had a conviction, I think it was for shoplifting or something, back when he was 18. So here's this law-abiding citizen for more than 65 years who failed to disclose because, again, so long ago and such a Manini issue, I think, at that point, that it became a big issue for them, and he ended up resigning from this board of a nonprofit that was seeking a liquor license for an event. So this member that brought it up to me was really talking about how, well, the TTB, which is the federal act, right? The federal guys who actually regulate alcohol, they have a 10-year look back, but they have a in perpetuity on anything that actually disqualifies you. And those would be class 51 or 52. So I think in your summary, it was that it, wipes out anything prior. That's not really the case. What it does is take things that aren't disqualifying and removes them from having someone have to bring a mistake up from 50 years ago when it's not a disqualifying event. So that was the concern that was brought up to me, and in private, of course, so I'm not at liberty to discuss that, but I thought that it would be responsible that if it's good for the federal government, it should certainly be good for us here in Hawaii.
And that's certainly something we don't often say. Thanks, Garrett.
Not often, but in this case, because we're under such scrutiny already, it's just,
we got your point. We got your point. Thank you. We have testimony from Joshua DeMello in support and Russell Adkins in support. Okay, members, any questions for Mr. DeMello? Mr. Marrero? If not, let's move forward to the next bill on our agenda. We're getting close to the end here. Senate Bill 65 relating to intoxicating liquor allows direct shipment of all forms of liquor rather than just wine by certain licensees, requires the county liquor commissions to adopt rules and regulations. Ms. Goldstein, Hawaiian Craft Brewers Guild.
Aloha, thank you for the opportunity to provide our testimony in support. I'll summarize and just mention that this is another avenue to provide additional financial stability and other options for our craft producers here in Hawaii and other liquor producers. There already is a system in place for direct-to-consumer shipping for wine. There's a permitting system that Garrett had mentioned previously. And this is something that could be adopted, and we could just include these other products, including craft beer. And we'll just stand on the rest of our written testimony. Thank you for the opportunity to support this bill.
Okay, thank you. Lanikai Brewing Company, Steve?
Yes, thanks, Chair, Vice Chair. I stand in support of this. Obviously, it's a great opportunity for the local producers to be able to generate additional income and then therefore generate additional taxes, and using a system that is already in place, as was mentioned, dealing with wine. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify in support.
Okay, thank you. Ben with Mahalo Ale Works. Are you still on the call, Ben? Ben call? Okay. Joe Lorenzen, Waikiki Brewing Company. Joe, are you on the call?
Hi, yes I am. I will stand on my testimony and want to add very briefly. Our industry is one of the few industries in the past years that's created manufacturing jobs here in the state of Hawaii. And we were very hard hit by COVID, as everyone was, but with the bars and restaurants and other businesses that carry our products being shut down, it had a very dramatic effect on us. And one of the things that we were able to do in most of the counties was to deliver directly or ship directly to consumers. And that was a big help for us in increasing our revenue streams. So we'd love to be able to continue to do that to help build jobs and build revenue for the state, but also to be able to reach some of the mainland customers that we're unable to reach when we're very small operations. If you're not able to fill a full shipping container and have a distribution partner on the mainland, you can't reach some of those customers that may have visited us out here and had a great experience and be fans of our product, and then email us on a weekly basis asking, hey, can we get some of your beer? I'll pay for it, just ship it to me, and we can't because it's prohibited. So we would definitely like the opportunity to be able to get our product out there and increase our ability to get to markets that we don't have access to right now. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Okay, thank you so much. Brett Larson, Kauai Island Brewing Company. Brett, are you on the call? Submitted testimony in support. Hawaii Food Industry Association.
Morning, Chair, Vice Chair. I'm Alexis Chapman for HFIA. We are in opposition to this measure. We'll stand on our written testimony, just citing existing problems with the direct shipment of wine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The Wine Institute, Katie Jacoy. Wine Institute?
Yes, good morning. Sorry about that. I had a problem turning it on. Mihoko Ito on behalf of the Wine Institute. Just wanted to state that, we don't have a problem with direct-to-consumer sales for beer or spirits. But the issue that we have is that in this draft, two provisions that apply to wine were tinkered with that changed the existing wine shipping statute. First, the elimination of wine case limits. Maybe in an ideal world, that would be something that we would totally support. However, when this bill was set into statute and became law, it was a very negotiated and contentious issue to set a case limit in the statute. So we oppose changing that for wine. Second issue is with regard to reciprocal shipping, and the issue with that is that there is a Supreme Court case that actually speaks to reciprocal shipping provisions and statutes, and years ago those used to exist for wine as well, but have all been eliminated. So we would just ask that there is a fix, which would be to either separate the beer direct-to-sales shipping into another chapter, or to restore the provisions that impact wine. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Kaloa Rum Company. Testimony and support, Big Island Brew House. Testimony and support, Kauai Beer Company. Testimony and support, Hawaii Farm Bureau. Testimony and support, Maui Brewing Company. Craft Beverages. In support, Hawaii Liquor Wholesalers. Yep. I'm sorry, is there somebody there from Maui Brewing Company?
Yeah, Maui Brewing Company. For some reason, I'm not able, there we go. Was locked out of starting video. So I'm going to stand on the written testimony, because I think it really does talk about what my colleagues discussed as relative to COVID and seeking revenue and exporting our products. I frankly am a bit disappointed and disturbed at some of the comments by the Wholesalers Association and others. I think the Wine Institute, we're absolutely happy to have the case limits. That might have been an oversight in writing. Also, reciprocity is not a requirement, and I would add that Oregon still requires reciprocity to ship. I would argue that is also a Granholm violation, but that's something for a separate issue, but that is fact. So Mihoku, we're happy to work with you. Let's put our heads together. What we're trying to achieve is parity for beer and spirits to be able to get to the markets that can't come to us anymore. We had 35,000 tourists a day coming prior. We have, 10,000 coming a day. We simply do not have the bodies here to support these small businesses. So being able to reach out and ship our products just like wine has been allowed to do for so long, I think is what we're seeking. I'd add that I used to be a wholesaler with a full distribution company, and so I have some inside knowledge, if you will, on the issue. It really feels like protectionism. It is, it's a senator I spoke to, a House rep I spoke to likened it to when Tesla started selling cars direct, how the Automobile Association was so upset. That is what this is. They're afraid of the foot in the door. To Joe's point from Waikiki Brewing, you can't attract a wholesaler when you're an ultra small brewery. It's a fly in the ointment. So the idea that you could go get distribution to get your product on the shelf in, say, Georgia from Hawaii, highly unlikely, if at all possible. As the largest brewer in the state of Hawaii, I still can't do that with a simple phone call or with our portfolio. I'd also turn to some information I have from the National Beer Wholesalers Association. The #1 strategy for growth in this year is to cull the portfolio. That means decrease brands, decrease SKUs, and focus on those that are moving. So if the wholesalers are truly against us having the right to ship, and they are there for us to distribute, I find it odd that their #1 idea to grow is to cut small brands. So with that, I'm open to the discussions, happy to answer questions. All this does is allow small business to succeed and the state to create more tax revenue from us exporting our locally produced products. Thank you.
Thank you. The next testifier is in opposition, Hawaii Liquor and Wholesalers Association. Anybody on the call? I don't see anyone. We have testimony in support from the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States, Russell Adkins, Joshua DeMello, Jeff Stevens, and Lila Inaba. Members, any questions for any of our testifiers? If not, let's go forward to the next item on our agenda, going from something fun to something not so fun. Senate Bill 764 relating to human trafficking. This adds a lifetime commercial driver's license disqualification for a commercial driver's license or commercial learner's permit holder who is convicted of a felony involving a severe form of trafficking in persons. We have testimony in support of this measure from Jade Butai, the Director of DOT, Department of Transportation. Jade, are you on the call?
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members. This is Lynn Araki-Regan, Deputy Director for Department of Transportation. Jade is in another meeting, so we wanted to just express to you that we stand on a written testimony in strong support of this bill. Thank you.
Took it off the agenda. Thank you, Lynn, very much. Nice to see you. Okay. Our next testifier is Hawaii Transportation Association. Testimony in support. Hawaii Strategic Highway Safety Plan, HSSP. Testimony in support. Members, any questions for Ms. Araki-Regan as our only live testifier this morning? Good. Members, I believe this brings us to the end of our agenda. So let's take just a few minute break and then we will do decision making. Recess. Was he going to give me a countdown? He's going to give you a countdown.
Okay, Chair, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, thank you. Members, we will officially call the committee back to order for purposes of decision making. And we have had an opportunity to talk story a little bit. Chair recommends on Senate Bill 609 relating to veterinarians that we pass this measure unamended. Any questions or comments? If not, Senator Nishihara, would you take the vote for the committee? Chair votes aye.
Okay. Senator Chang?
Aye.
Senator Misalucha?
Aye.
Nishar goes aye. Senator Revere?
Aye.
Senator Ventura?
Aye.
Senator Favela?
Aye.
Okay, motion's been adopted.
Okay, thank you, members. The next item is Senate Bill 610 relating to boards and commissions. Recommendation is to pass with amendments that the language was a little problematic that was in the original bill. So the recommendation is on Part 2 that it say be associated with a member of the occupation that the board or commission regulates that results in a material conflict of interest, an appearance of impropriety, or a reasonable suspicion that the public member does not represent the public interest. I think this language is much clearer than what the original draft had and would recommend to the committee that we adopt that language to help mitigate any conflicts of interest for a public member who wants to be serving on a particular licensing board or commission. Any questions or comments? If not, recommendation is to pass 610, Senate Bill 610 with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Senator Chang?
Aye.
Senator Misalucha?
Aye.
Nishar goes aye. Senator Revere?
Aye.
Senator Ventura?
Aye.
Senator Favela?
Aye.
Motion is adopted.
Thank you, members. Senate Bill 130 relating to coffee labeling. There's no clear path on this one. Chair recommends we defer it indefinitely. We keep hearing this bill in different iterations, hoping that we find something, but a resolution is still elusive. Okay, next measure, Senate Bill 1232, establish a 3-year surcharge on liquor tax, repeal 6/30/2024. Chair recommends that based on the support that we heard and conversations with the drafters, that we pass this measure with amendments. There are some minor technical amendments in the drafting. And DOTAX had suggested a per drink surcharge on each alcoholic beverage served. And so I think that's a good way to go. In our discussion, rather than leaving it blank, we're going to take a recommendation that was in the testimony that it be a 10-cent per drink surcharge, which we believe, based on the consumption in our state, maybe a little off because we don't have so many visitors at the moment, but that could ultimately net us about $62 million in general revenue, which would be very useful at the moment. So the recommendation of the chair is to pass Senate Bill 1232 with those amendments. Any questions or concerns? If not, chair votes aye.
Senator Chang. Aye. Senator Misalucha.
Aye.
Nishar goes aye. Senator Rivera.
Aye.
Senator San Ventura.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Motion is adopted.
Thank you very much, members. The next item on our agenda this morning is Senate Bill 1241 relating to intoxicating liquor. This has to do with shipments. Chair recommends that we take the amendment offered by Matson Navigation to clean up this measure, and I think it will continue to allow movement, but also make sure that the shipments are tracked properly. Any questions or comments? If not, Chair recommends we pass Senate Bill 1241 with the amendment offered by Matson Navigation. Chair votes aye.
Senator Chang. Aye. Senator Misalucha.
Aye.
Nishar goes aye. Senator Revere.
Aye.
Senator San Buenaventura.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Motion is adopted.
Thank you, members. Senate Bill 922 is next. It's also relating to liquor licenses. This has to do with the limits on convictions that are used by the commission, has to do with getting some of our federal and state laws in alignment, and the chair recommends that we pass this measure with technical, non-substantive amendments. It was supported by all of the testifiers. Any questions or concerns? If not, the recommendation is to pass Senate Bill 922 with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Senator Chang. Aye. Oh, okay. Senator Misalucha.
Aye.
Senator Nishar goes aye. Senator Revere.
Aye.
Senator San Ventura.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Motion is adopted.
Thank you, members. Senate Bill 65 relating to intoxicating liquor. Chair recommends that we pass this measure with amendments having to do with direct shipments, but changing the term in the statute from producers to manufacturers, which is more consistent with the licensing laws that this may affect, and move it forward. Actually, this one goes to the floor. I know there were some concerns from the Food Institute and others, but I think this measure has the opportunity to both improve the quality that goes forward, as well as requiring the county liquor commissions to adopt rules and regulations. So there's some accountability for the things that are being directly shipped into our various counties. So any questions or comments? If not, the recommendation is to pass Senate Bill 65 with amendments suggested by SMA. Chair votes aye.
Senator Chang. Senator Misalucha.
Aye.
Senator Nishar goes aye. Senator Revere.
Aye.
Senator San Ventura.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Motion's adopted.
Thank you, members. The last item on our agenda this morning is Senate Bill 764 relating to human trafficking. This adds a lifetime commercial driver's license disqualification for anybody who is convicted of a felony involving a severe form of trafficking in persons. Chair recommends that we pass this with amendments that were requested by the Department of Transportation, as well as some technical and non-substantive amendments identified by our drafting agency. Any questions or comments? If not, chair votes aye.
Senator Chang.
Aye.
Senator Misalucha.
Aye.
Nishar goes aye. Senator Revere.
Aye.
Senator San Ventura.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion's adopted.
Thank you, members, for your attendance, your participation, and your support on these measures. We have a hearing next week sometime, do we? Tuesday. So have a great weekend. You too. Enjoy some time at home and with friends and family, and the Super Bowl, yes. And enjoy your favorite beverage while you're sitting on your couch watching the Super Bowl.
Hello, you guys.
Thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone. We are adjourned.